So, I'm gonna read you the back of the book and the synopsis. Welcome to another episode of the Chapters of Life podcast. My name is Yesenia. First, I just wanna check in. This past week and a half, maybe to 2 weeks, I just haven't been feeling myself. I think I was going through a depression episode. Um, it's my birthday tomorrow, so I'm kind of excited for that, and I am kind of feeling myself coming out of it, but I'm not sure yet. It's been crazy. Just another chapter in my life that I am just ready to close. I like those short chapters in books and in my life where I just get through it, close it, let's move on to the next. So I am hoping to do that, but it's just so hard when you see all of these things online in the media. So I did want, before we get started on a book that I want to talk about today, I do want to touch on Jocelynn Rojo Carranza. She was, and I say was because she was an 11-year-old girl who lived in Texas who unfortunately unalived herself, and it just makes me so sad as to why this happened. So apparently, she was being bullied by her peers and saying that they were going to call ICE on her and her family so they can take her family and she'll be all alone. And that just breaks my heart because no kid should have to experience that. And based on the little bit that I read, this is something that she was really worried about, which I totally understand. Me as an adult, I worry about this stuff. And I know some people who are undocumented, and I'm just like, oh my God, what's gonna happen to them? Do they have a plan in place? And this is someone that I know that doesn't affect me in my home, and I can only imagine as a child, an 11-year-old girl, someone who in your home may be undocumented, and you're seeing all of these things in the media about them deporting other people who look just like you. It could very easily be your mom, your dad, your aunt, your uncle. And then, not to mention how the White House Instagram is doing ASMR videos about deporting people. That is just the craziest thing to me. Like, they're really just trying to instill fear. And it makes me so angry. And I'm so sad for this girl and her family and what they're going through, because this shouldn't be happening. Our kids shouldn't have to be worried about these things. I have a 9 and 13-year-old, and little kids are mean. They are so mean, and as an adult, I'm just like, why are you guys talking this way? I hear them. I hear my kids and their little friends, they talk on the phone, and sometimes they say some questionable stuff that of course they hear from other kids at school, maybe what they hear in their environment at home or what they see on social media. if they're on TikTok or Instagram. And I do my best on trying to nip that in the butt with my own kids and making sure that they understand that talking shit to your friends, even though it's playful banter at times, it could be harmful. Like, you may be saying it jokingly because, who knows why. They're just doing it, they're kids. But you never know what someone is going through and how it can be affecting them. And I told my little one, my 9-year-old, because I think my 13-year-old pretty much understands that he shouldn't be doing that. But my little one, he's still kind of like, I guess, learning how to interact with his peers, and I want to be able to help and guide him. So I did tell him about this little girl that unalived herself because of what happened, and I let him know and that it's not okay to be saying those specific things to kids and just anything mean in general. So that's really, I feel like all I can do is hopefully guide my kids to be better and grow up in a different environment where they stand up to this type of stuff. They are our future, and hopefully they can be politicians and change some of this stuff, or they get into something where they are actually making a change as they grow up. So it's just so hard to want to just protect them from all of this. Like, it's so hard being a parent. It's so hard, and you kind of learn as you go, and times are different now than they were back then when we were being raised. And it's like, you can't even ask your parents, like, what can help me, what do I do, how do I do this, because things are changing these days. So, which brings me to the book that I want to talk about today. I want to discuss All the Noise at Once by DeAndra Davis. This is a prime example book of, you just want to protect your kids so much, but like, how much can you really protect them? And all we can do really is try. So, All the Noise at Once, I went to the North Park Book Fair here in San Diego, California. I had purchased a book at one of the little booths, and with that purchase, I was able to select an arc that they had, which I was super grateful for. So I had chose this book. So this book is being released on April 15th of this year, and I highly recommend to purchase this book and share it with as many people as you can, because I have a feeling that it's going to be part of the banned books because of what is in here. So, I'm going to read you the back of the book and the synopsis of what the book is about. So, all Aiden has ever wanted to do was play football, just like his star quarterback brother, Brandon. An overstimulation meltdown gets in the way of Aiden making the team during tryouts. But when the school year starts and a spot needs to be filled, he finally gets to play the game that he loves. However, some teammates are wary of how Aiden's autism will present itself on game day. Tensions rise, a fight breaks out, cops are called. Brandon interferes to help his brother, but is arrested by the very same cops who just hours earlier were cheering him from the bleachers. When Brandon is wrongly charged for felony assault on an officer, everything he has worked for starts to slip away, and the brothers' relationship is tested. As Brandon's trial inches closer, Aiden is desperate to figure out what really happened that night. Can he clear his brother's name in time? So, this was a really great book. I feel like it is such a powerful book that everybody is going to need to read. Especially, I feel like this should definitely be a read in high school. So, a couple things that I want to talk about. So, Aiden is he has autism and he has an older brother, right? That is the star football player. And towards the end, I really felt for both Brandon and Aiden. Brandon, I felt for him because you can really tell that he just wanted to be there for his brother and protect him and make him feel normal. Um, there were a lot of other people, especially in the book, who saw his autism as he was different. And why, yes, it's different from neurotypical people, it doesn't make him any different as a person. He's still a person. He still should be able to do all of these things that everyone else is doing. It just might take a little bit of patience and understanding of what they are going through as they're doing certain stuff. And I know that he was just trying to, Brandon was trying to protect Aiden. However, it did feel like everything that he did was for Aiden. So it's like at some point, how or when do you just start doing stuff for yourself without having to feel like you have to bring your brother along? And I think this is typical for any older sibling. I know that my oldest son sometimes tries to be like, I guess, like parent my younger son. And I have to remind him, like, don't worry about him. You're not the parent. Worry about yourself. You do what you need to do. I will parent the young one because I don't want it to be his responsibility because he's just a child. He needs to be a child. He shouldn't have to worry about parenting his younger sibling. So I really felt for Brandon in that sense, that he needed something just for himself. I also felt for Aiden because he's had that support from his brother for so long. And like I mentioned earlier, as a parent, you just want to make sure to protect your children. And knowing that your child has autism and other people may see him differently, you just want to protect your child from that. So I 100% understand that. But at the same time, we have to teach them to be independent and do things on their own. And that goes for anybody, who has children, right? Like you want to protect them, but at the same time, you also want them to be independent. And Aiden, I feel like, started to realize some of these things when the cops were called on Brandon, his older brother, and he wasn't able to be there for him as much. So he started to realize, and I also felt bad because he kind of felt guilty, like he may have been holding his brother back or he was a burden, which I don't think that Brandon may have felt that he was a burden, but I think there is that balance between the two. So I really, really felt for both of them. And the but it's also a reality because this is probably stuff that a lot of people go through. So it was great to see that in this story and have that reminder. Another thing that was huge in this story is that they kept mentioning that their parents always told them if they ever got pulled over by a cop or they were speaking to a police officer because of whatever reason, to always comply and to always mention who you are and essentially like all of your accolades that you have accomplished. So for Brandon, he was a star player on his football team. So for him, it was remind them that you are the star player and that was in hopes that they would put two and two together and be like, oh, he is a good person. He's not a stereotype of the Black community. However, unfortunately for Brandon, it did not go that way despite him telling the officers that he was a star player of his football team. And he was wrongfully accused of assaulting a police officer, which it's hard to say if he really did it or not. That was kind of left up in the air. Um, but it's just so painful again to read about that and hear about that because this is true life. This happens every single day when parents have to talk to their kids and tell them to always comply and answer the police officer because they would much rather them come home, just simply come home. I was going to say come home in one piece, but they just want their son, father, brother to just come home because often we see that they don't. It's simple as that. And that's why I think this book is going to be banned because there is a lot of truth in this book. There is a lot of truth and it is definitely eye-opening. So, I don't want to divulge too much more because I don't want to give spoilers. I feel like I already gave some and I hope I didn't. But that is the general theme of the book, and I just hope that one, it doesn't get banned, and two, if you do pick up this book, please, please, please share this book with as many people as you can. If you are an educator, please share this book with your students, and it's important to talk about it. Let's talk about topics like this because we need to teach our young kids that this is not okay and that we should always do right. So definitely pick up this book. It'll be out April 15th of 2025 this year, and I highly, highly recommend. So don't just read diverse books and books by Black authors on Black History Month. Make sure to read them all year long. So I hope you enjoyed me talking about this book. I am hoping to bring you some more podcast episodes with other bookstagrammers soon. I am working on that. And I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to follow me on Instagram and make sure to subscribe. And if you have any comments, if you are planning to read this book, or if you have any comments about Jocelynn, I would love to start a conversation in the comments. And I hope you guys have a great day. Bye.